My name is Annie Quintana. I'm a youth leader with the Lab Learning Action Buffet and a member of the Lab's Radio Hour. Thank you, Sean Doyle, for agreeing to be interviewed today as part of our Youth Voice Matters project in partnership with Generation Justice in Albuquerque. The main purpose of this project is to elevate youth voices in southern New Mexico at this critical moment in history. As you know, we're in the middle of a pandemic and an uprising calling out and calling for an end to racism in the United States. We'd like to hear from you in terms of how you're dealing with all of this, your insights, hopes, and recommendations. So how about we dive right back in?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. First of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your identity? Where were you born or grew up?
So I was born and raised in Las Cruces. And after I graduated from Centennial High School with Annie, I went straight to EMT school. And then right after that, I went to advanced EMT school. And then I just got back from New York working there as a medic and am currently in paramedic school.
Awesome. Yes. And you also lived in Albuquerque for a little while, right?
I did. I lived there for about a year and a half and worked in their EMS system up there.
Okay. So, what are some of your main interests?
So, since I've had a lot of time on my hands, I have been getting back into reading and like the audiobooks and watching movies and TV and just like the things that relax me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after the job you do, you definitely need some good relaxation. So, I know that you're very passionate about a few different kinds of series. So, can you tell us a little bit about Game of Thrones?
Which is my absolute favorite of all time. I am rereading / listening to the books for the second time. And I personally have the entire series downloaded on my phone.
Amazing.
I loved all of it except for the final season. That was a little hard, but other than that, it's my favorite of all time.
I can't really get into it. I never really watched it.
Oh.
But I am going to segue into your interest in Grey's Anatomy.
Which I probably started watching my sophomore year of high school. And ever since then, I haven't been able to stop. I've probably watched it at least 10 times by now. Do this thing where like I'll watch a new series, like, and then I'll watch Grey's Anatomy all the way over again. It's that one thing that I've watched it so much that I can just like jump into an episode and I know exactly what's happening, exactly what's about to happen, and kind of have a little bit of an obsession with it.
A little bit of an obsession, but correct me if I'm wrong, your interest for EMT and the medical field came a little bit from Grey's Anatomy.
It did. When I was able to see that me personally was able to help people through like disease processes and injuries and help calm their fears and do treatments that I can actively see help them, it was something that I was like, this is what I have a passion for.
Yeah, and that it was really cool to know you when you were in high school, first watching Grey's Anatomy and getting to see you say, I want to be a trauma surgeon.
Yep, ever since then I've gone for it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how are you doing in terms of everything that's going on right now?
So I have personally been lucky enough to have had constant work throughout this whole thing. Whether when it all started, I was in Albuquerque, and then after that, I was lucky enough to land a contract job in New York where I was working in this like positive pressure bubble ICU, where I was working there. And then after that, I came back home and started school. So I've always had something to keep my mind off of everything. So I've personally been lucky. But my family, who has been working from home, has started to go a little bit crazy.
Yeah, they're staying home, working from home for the most part.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I think we're all going a little bit crazy, but doing what we have to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts related to the pandemic?
So I prefer, well, I would like to think that it is starting to go down and go away. Obviously, something that I'm a very big advocate of is you can't tell where you are in an exponential curve while you're in an exponential curve. So there could be another huge spike coming, or it could be just like shooting down. So we can't tell. But I think that we're getting there.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, you've had an incredibly personal experience with the coronavirus, like you had said a little bit earlier, that you had gone to New York to work when this kind of started.
I did. I worked in ICU where it was primarily staffed by Army medical personnel, and there was a lot of, as well, civilian, like EMTs and paramedics. There was also a few nurses there where we were basically together all the time. Like, we were at work or we all stayed in the same hotel. So we were pretty much with each other for about 2 months. So we were very quickly able to pick up on each other's like strengths and weaknesses and be able to build off of each other. I had the pleasure of learning from Columbia doctors, which they are a whole nother level of like, wow. And there
that was an education in itself.
It was. And there were people there that had like seen the world over, and they have their own like little practices and little bits of knowledge and little just tidbits that they were so willing to share. And it was really a great experience. However unfortunate the circumstances were.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of told me a little bit of a story about when people would leave, because I mean, you were in the heart of it of New York when this was all going down, and you kind of told me a little bit of a story about a bell. Can you kind of tell that story?
Yeah, so when a person was getting discharged, while they were walking out and or being wheeled out, every single staff member there would go complete round of applause, wake people up, sometimes round of applause. And then once they were out, they had a bell, and they rang the bell every time that they were getting discharged and as their family was picking them up. So it was really just little glimmer of hope that even through this awful disease, people are getting better.
Wow. And I mean, I think we were seeing just a tiny bit of that on the news, but you got to experience that.
Yeah, it really was one of the most uplifting things that I've been able to see.
Wow. Well, I mean, you've seen a lot in these months. What are your hopes for the future?
So I think that, as always, we should be learning from the past and as well as the present. So I would like to see viruses to stop being politicized. Regardless of which side of the fence you fall, this virus is obviously killing people, and it is obviously an awful disease process to go through.
Yeah.
So I would like to stop seeing a virus be politicized. But I don't think that it will ever go away. Obviously, we still remember the flu pandemic and the Spanish flu pandemic and tuberculosis. Obviously, those are things that we still know about and have practices from. So I would like to see safer practices in the future, and people being more more noticing, washing your hands more often, staying home if you're sick, and those type of practices just become more ingrained in society.
Yeah, and I guess kind of looking at public health as a responsibility of everyone.
Yeah, not just healthcare providers or those who are sick.
Definitely. So what recommendations do you have for school, city, or state leaders or others who are making policies that affect you and people that are close to you?
So personally, my thoughts are my main concern with New Mexico is that the governor keeps changing, as my mom says, moving the goalposts. So she'll set one set of goals, and then once we meet those goals, she'll move it again. And then once we meet those, she'll move it again. So I would just like us as a state and as a society to have kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, where it's something to look forward to and something that we can work towards as a state and as a society.
Yeah.
So once we get there, we genuinely have celebration and happiness, and it will draw us. I would like to think that it would draw us closer together.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to have more of a concrete goal that we can celebrate, because it sure seems there are a lot of things to celebrate right now, but it's just a very dark time.
Yes.
And yeah, I think we all need that as a society.
Yes.
So I want to thank you, Sean, for your time and your thoughts around these issues. I have personally known Sean since the 4th grade, and I know that he has the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met. He is a caretaker and just a giver, and I am so grateful and blessed to know you. And I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future, because I know it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Of course. So, do you have any last things to share with our viewers?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, Sean. Please visit the lab website, lablc.org, to see what we're up to, and please keep speaking out. Youth voice and positive action can make a real difference now and in the future. Take care.